Hello, and welcome back to still another video. This is the 7th episode of the story in which Naruto loses his eyes, but his wind affinity reaches to point where he uses wind as sonar system. This story comes from Dental Rush. Kindly support him or her. Like and subscribe to show your support. Let us begin this show. Raimu. Oi, Raimu. Riamuyu. Damn it, Raimu, don't ignore me. Noticing that her loud calls were drawing the attention of everyone on the street, the young girl chuckled nervously. She slid a hand through her long, curly blonde hair, a habit she would never be able to get rid of. Hee, sorry. Most people just smiled, shook their heads and went on their ways. The girl sprinted forward, she's very proud of her running speed, towards the ninja academy and towards the long-haired figure in the distance. A few yards before reaching her, she bent her knees and leapt above the girl clad in white, making a perfect somersault and landing on 2 feet in front of her, a feat of acrobatics that would make most circus performers jealous. Perfect landing. Damn, I'm awesome. The girl's expression quickly changed to a strange combination of glare and pout as she turned to face the other girl. Riamuyu. A pair of eyelids blinked over a pair of clear, pupilless white eyes. Raimu tilted her head slightly to the side and her lips hinted slight amusement. Marissa. She might as well have been reading the shopping list with the tone she used. Marissa. The blonde 11-years-old girl repeated in her best imitation of Raimu's matter-of-factly tone. Damn it, you piss me off, Raimu. Is that so? Marissa rolled her big, bright cerulean eyes. Would it hurt to be nice and smile every once in a while? Seriously, sometimes I wonder why we're friends. I've been wondering the same thing since I have memory. Marissa ignored the taller, by an inch, damn it, girl and smacked her right fist on the palm of her left hand. Ah, right. Because I like you so much. Raimu got stiff as a rock in the middle of the street. That is, if rocks could turn beet red. What did you say? She squeaked. Well, it's common sense, right? Marissa shrugged. I like you, so I want to be your friend. Now move or we'll be late. Wait. Marissa. The distance between the two didn't allow Raimu to notice the smirk on Marissa's face as she trotted ahead of her friend. Such a tsundere, so cute. Once they shifted back to walking, the two best friends engaged in idle conversation. New clothes, Marissa? Marissa watched how her friend eyed the white-trimmed cape with trigram markings over a plain blue vest and long dress. The cape only went halfway down her back and it was fastened to her neck by an orange ribbon. The blue vest had white sleeves and buttons. Both the vest and the lower end of her dress carried the familiar emblem of the Huran clan. A plain gray backpack hung from her right shoulder. Yup. The perkier girl nodded enthusiastically. Papa had it made for me. I don't like cheongsams that much, but... Marissa gave Raimu an once-over. I see you're wearing your emo dress. It's not emo. Oh, come on, it's all white. What are you supposed to be, the ghost of a dead Miko or something? A Yukiana? It's not emo. Raimu repeated. Sure it isn't. Oh well, it does look good on you. But isn't it kind of impractical, wearing all white? I mean, it gets awfully dirty. Indeed, Raimu's outfit consisted basically on a plain, flowing white dress with long, wide sleeves. Even the many trims around the sleeves, neck and skirt were white ribbons. In addition, she wore a peculiarly large white ribbon on her head. Her long black hair was fixed in 2 twin tails on the sides and a long mane that reached her midsection. Save for the longer hair, Raimu was in general words the splitting image of her mother at her age. The most perverted among the male population of Konoha were already placing bets on whether Raimu would inherit her mother's assets. She didn't seem to carry any books or anything else with her, but Marissa knew better. I can have it washed. Marissa groaned. Slave driver. You know, just because you're the heiress doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Look how's talking, Miss Daddy's little girl. Marissa had the decency to blush. I am not. Raimu stopped. Henge. A poof of smoke later, there were two Marissas. Marissa clasped her hands together and made the most saccharine facial expression known to man. Papa, give me a hug. Papa, you're so cool. Papa, will you help me with my homework? Pleiowas. The other people on the street were enjoying the spectacle and chuckling at the astoundingly, and frighteningly accurate imitation. Marissa was getting redder and redder by the second. Papa, you're always so busy, play with me. Papa, when are you going to teach me jutsu? Papa, I love you ths. Raimu opened her arms as wide as she could. Thias much. The crowd went into a bout of laughter followed by boisterous clapping. Raimu poofed back to her real form and bowed elegantly to her audience. Unfortunately for her, she didn't see the blushing Marissa she expected. At some point the Hurazen girl had regained her bearings. If her smirk was any indication, Raimu was in trouble. Not bad. Now I'll show my henge. Raimu raised an eyebrow. You can't use henge yet. The only reason you passed ninjutsu 2 is because you can use kage bunshin. Wanna bet? Henge. A rather large cloud of smoke covered a sizable portion of the street, forcing most of the people watching to cover their noses and close their eyes. Soon enough they got a damn good reason to open them again, though. Nay, Ryemu. A sultry voice echoed all over the street. Part whine, part whisper, part purr, it called for the girl clad in white. Raimu and everyone else opened their eyes, to be welcomed by something way unlike anything they expected Marissa to pull off. The most private portions of her curvaceous anatomy covered by nothing but appropriately placed wisps of smoke, what could only be described as an older and a bazillion times sexier version of Hurazen Marissa stood in front of Raimu, her body slightly bent in a sexy pose. Her blonde hair had grown, too, cascading down her back like a golden waterfall that splashed down on the end of her back. Her big, round blue eyes were the epitome of dangerous innocence. Her pouting face made her pink lips look glossier, tastier. And she spoke again. Do you think I look cute? With batting of eyelashes for added effect. The streets of Konoha were painted red as dozens of males fainted simultaneously, blood spraying out of their nostrils like geysers of unbridled perversion. Another poof of smoke signaled Marissa's turning back to normal. Men were unconscious. Women raised an eyebrow and shot half-angry, half-amused looks at her. Children were just confused, but most found the massive nosebleeding funny as hell. Ha! Marissa smirked triumphantly. How's that? I call it Oiroke no Jutsu. It's the bane of all non-gay men. What do you think, Raimu? Marissa looked down, only to find the unconscious, nosebleeding form of Hyuga Raimu. What the hell? Why you, too, Raimu? Several tissues, many minutes of silent walking and a few seconds of uncomfortable silence later, the two friends arrived to the academy and took their seats next to each other. Marissa shot an uneasy look at her best friend, who had remained awfully silent, and awfully red, the whole way after her little Oiroke prank. Nay, Marissa. Yes. Raimu, still looking down, spoke in a dangerously low tone. You haven't shown that. She shuddered. Jutsu, to Hokage-sama, right? The blonde girl blinked. Now that you mention it, no, I haven't. I really should no. Raimu's sudden bout of loudness startled Marissa and the other children in the classroom. Never. Show. That. To Hokage-sama. Understood? But never. Why? Never. Marissa. Okay? Swear on the honor of your clan. Marissa sweat dropped. I swear, on my honor as heiress of Clan Huran, that I will never show Papa my Oiroke no Jutsu. In her mind, Marissa was smirking. She didn't say anything about variations. I wonder how Papa will react to harem no jutsu or any variations. Damn it, she reads me like an open book. Ayuyuyu, or any variations of it. Happy? Raimu released a long sigh. Relieved would be more appropriate. Now, we'll forget this ever happened, alright? Sure. I'll just make sure to remind you in the most inappropriate moments. Marissa. Raimu groaned and Marissa grinned in a way identical to her father's. Ugh, just forget it. An explanation is due right now. The thing is, the academy Raimu and Marissa normally attend to isn't the same academy that has been used for decades. As a direct consequence of the extreme makeover of Konoha's educational system instigated by the Rokudaime Hokage the moment he took office, based on his groundbreaking discourse on shinobi education and training, the old academy building was replaced by a huge complex of buildings that took a sizable portion of what used to be the Uchiha district. The new Konoha Academy was a grand and quite ambitious project, built and made operational in a record time of 4 years. The first generation of graduates from the new academy had just recently emerged, so it was still too early to judge the effectiveness of the changes. However, it was obvious that the new educational system of Konoha was appealing to many, as even experienced and seasoned ninja had chosen to go back to the classroom to take some of the most advanced courses. In any case, a few days earlier, all students that were about to enter their penultimate year of ninja instruction were informed that, for their first day, they had to present themselves at the old academy building. They were also told to fill a certain paper form. After a random teacher showed up for a moment to tell the students to remain in their seats and wait, Marissa decided she needed to do something other than looking out the window. They didn't know it, but Marissa and Raimu had claimed the exact same seats Uchiha Sasuke and Hiruzen Uzumaki Naruto had used so many years before, respectively. Nay, Raimu, which path did you take anyway? The new Konoha Academy unified civilian and shinobi education. All children entered at age 4 for 5 years of primary education. After those 5 years, those who wouldn't take the path of the shinobi continued their normal education for 10 more years. Shinobi aspirants had it a lot tougher. After all, Konohagakure, like any other hidden village, is in constant demand of more trained ninjas. Shinobi training lasts only 4 more years, in which the younglings are pushed to the max. The new curriculum designed by the 6th Hokage is far more complete, but it is also far more demanding, to ensure that the new genin leave the academy much better prepared than those who were educated with the original system. The 4 years of shinobi training consist of 2 years of compulsory courses plus 2 years of compulsory and elective courses. The electives are divided in 4 paths: taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, and fuinjutsu. Picking a path only means that the student will take more electives from that specific group. Nothing stops the student from taking courses from other paths. There are additional elective courses in physical, biological and medical sciences, for those who aspire to become medic nin, or members of the Demolition Corps, as well as electives in specific shinobi roles such as espionage or sabotage, and more general skills and branches of knowledge such as politics, economics or communication skills. Fuinjutsu. Raimu declared. What? Why? It is relevant to my interests. You? Marissa grinned. Fuinjutsu. Raimu frowned. Oh really? Yeah really. I mean, duh. I'm a Hiruzen. Marissa, are you really sure about that? Fuinjutsu, it is tough. Marissa frowned. I can take anything they throw at me. You barely passed Introduction to Fuinjutsu last term. Marissa scoffed. That's in the past. She patted Raimu's shoulder rather harshly. Don't worry, don't worry. There's nothing Horizon Marissa can't do. You didn't pick Fuinjutsu just so you could have Hokage-sama as sensei next term, did you? Of course not. Raimu lifted an eyebrow. I mean, not just for that reason. Marissa. Oh, just leave me alone. The blonde looked a bit miffed, which unsettled the raven-haired girl. Raimu sighed. Marissa, you're not precisely the best student. You mean I'm not like you, Miss Top Student of the Year, the oh-so-great Hyuga genius? Marissa, that's not what I get it. You think I'm an idiot? Of course not. Raimu looked around, nervous, noticing that her little vocal outburst had drawn a bit too much attention. She dropped her tone to keep the conversation private. I just think Fuinjutsu is not for you. Marissa had looked away, avoiding Raimu's glance. This forced the taller girl to inch a bit closer in an attempt to oblige Marissa to take notice of her. Your notes aren't the best, Marissa, and I. Raimu lowered her face so as to not show her faint blush. I worry about you. When she tentatively looked up again, she was welcomed by Marissa's mischievous smirk. What did you just say? Raimu's pale face made the reddening of her cheeks far more notorious. No, nothing. It was her turn to look away. Nothing. I didn't say anything. Are you hearing voices now, Dobe? Marissa narrowed her gaze. Team. After several seconds of Marissa staring at her best friend's back, she sighed. Just don't worry. This is what I want to do. Besides, it would be fun if we take all the classes together, wouldn't it? Raimu got the time she needed to regain her usual cool composure, which allowed her to come up with an appropriate retort. I guess you're better than anyone else, even if you're a useless idiot. Team. HN. So. Marissa went for another topic. Why did you take Fuinjutsu, I wonder? Why didn't you take Taijutsu, anyway? I already receive more than enough Taijutsu training at home, Marissa. Ah, good point. So, why seals? You aren't aiming for Papa, are you? Because, if you are, let me tell you for Cammy's sake, Marissa. That's just plain wrong. Alright, sorry. Marissa shrugged. I guess that, since Papa likes you a lot and he's always so nice to you, maybe. Marissa. Okay, I get it. Marissa decided to change the topic before her best friend suffered a heart attack. So, what courses did you pick? I mean, we only have 2 compulsories. Combat Practice 2 and Introduction to Medical Methods 1. Yep, those 2. So. Raimu quietly revealed a paper strip with symbols inscribed on it, quickly unsealing a loose piece of paper and offering it to her friend, who promptly read it. Materials Fuinjutsu, Math and Physics for Seal Designers, Management, Politics 1, Economy 1, Communication Skills and Advanced Stealth and Infiltration Techniques. 9 total? It is not recommended to take more than 9 courses per term. Raimu grabbed Marissa's form. Materials Fuinjutsu, Math and Physics for Seal Designers, Biology and Chemistry for Seal Designers, Management, Politics 1, Economy 1, Sabotage 1, Chakra Control Exercises, Elemental Ninjutsu 1, Organic Chemistry 1, Cellular Biology and Biophysics, Marissa. You are aware this is way too much, right? Yup. Marissa. Sheesh, you're too loud. Marissa, you cannot take so many courses. Why not? Because. This is too much, even for me. There you go. The world will finally know I'm way better than you. Marissa, you're taking 14 courses. I do know how to count, Raimu. I don't think there are enough hours in a week for 14 courses. Raimu, I'm taking the courses, period. Mari I said, period. Marissa ignored Raimu's forlorn look, so the Hyuga girl put Marissa's form on her friend's side of the desk and clasped her hands together before putting them on her lap. Another uncomfortable silence ensued until Marissa spoke again, 2 minutes and 46 seconds later. Raimu. Thank you. For worrying. You're a good friend. Will you cancel some courses? Hell no. Idiot. Oh, that's old news. Raimu bit her lower lip. She couldn't fight against Marissa's kind smile or against her legendary stubbornness, both inherited from her father. She had absolutely no chance against the combined might of both. Marissa's face suddenly lit up. Oh, I almost forgot. Raimu immediately recognized the scroll Marissa took out of her backpack. That is. Did you? Yup. The whole thing. Her heart skipped a bit, and Raimu, blushing one more time, lowered her gaze to hide her nervousness. Did you like it? Marissa grinned widely. You kidding me? It was awesome. For the first time that day, a real smile blossomed on Hyuga Raimu's face. Really? Yeah. You're pretty good. And it's Papa's biography, so it has to be awesome. Raimu surprised everyone when she declared she was going to write a biography of Uzumaki Naruto. The golden wind god of Konoha just laughed and offered his best smile to the young girl. I'll be looking forward to it. He had said. Those words were enough incentive for the Hyuga heiress. The first part of Raimu's epic tale covered Naruto's life until his last year in the academy. This is what she gave to her best friend, asking her to read it and offer her opinion. There's just a little thing that bugs me. Marissa stated. What is it? The title. What's wrong with the title? Are you kidding me, Raimu? How many people do you think know what the words phantasmagoria and dichromatic mean? Phantasmagoria, a changing scene made up of many elements. It's an obvious reference to the many sudden and rapid changes in Hokage-sama's life since his 7th birthday. Dichromatic means having 2 colors, just like his mediums. Marissa gaped. You're not funny at all, Raimu. It's not supposed to be funny. Marissa slammed her left hand on her forehead. Just, oh, whatever. Forget I said anything. Good. Now. Raimu unsealed another scroll. Here's the next one. Marissa's face lit up. You already wrote the next one. Damn, Raimu, you rule. The Hyuga heiress beamed. Marissa eagerly unfurled the scroll and directed her eyes towards the title. Fantasia of Apotropaic Esoterica, now this is just pure evil, Raimu. Raimu only smirked. From her seat a few meters away, Horazan Saya grinned in response to Naruto's groan. If you have time to groan and complain, you have time to finish the exam. Naruto exploded. This test is ridiculous. Shiki-sensei is evil, I tell you. Evil. You have 52 minutes left. Naruto groaned again. You're evil, too, and you're just a shadow clone. The Saya clone flicked a piece of dirt off one of her nails. I might be just a shadow clone, but I can still kick your ass. Ugh. The month is January. 12-year-old Horazan Uzumaki Naruto is just a few months away from becoming a genin of Konoha. While he would have liked to make his adoptive parents proud and emerge as one of the top students, it was hard to do so when he was unable to pass any of the written exams. Fortunately, he always had good grades in pretty much everything else, except throwing practice, so he had no problem making it to the last year, much to the chagrin of many teachers. So, while neither Naruto nor his parents doubted he would be able to graduate from the academy in less than 3 months, that didn't seem to be enough for Shiki and Saya. It is well known that Naruto was thoroughly educated by his foster parents before and, to a lesser extent, during his school years. Therefore, they decided it was fair enough for them to also evaluate Naruto's comprehension of the knowledge they imparted to him before they could let him abandon the nest and forge his own path as a shinobi. Therefore, while Naruto glided through his last year as an academy student, he was also put through what he had deemed the Horizon trials. The year was almost over, and Naruto had already undergone most of the tests. Naruto had to admit, his parents deserved praise for originality. The first test was taijutsu. He was surprised when Saya told him his opponent would be none other than Uchiha Mikoto. "It's been a very long time since I sparred, Naruto-kun. Please be nice to me, Annie," the ever-smiling Uchiha beauty said in her perfect and elegant tone. Then she unleashed her three-tomo Sharingan and proceeded to utterly and thoroughly beat the living shit out of him. After the 100th time he was sent to the ground, Saya declared the battle as over and walked over to his prone form. "That teaches you to never underestimate your opponent, Naruto. So, how did it feel, fighting the mighty Sharingan? Ugh, must kill Sasuke before he gets it." Despite his humiliating defeat, Saya deemed his taijutsu skills well within the acceptable levels. "This meaning you're better than most of your classmates, but you still have a long way to go." On a side note, Hinata was also tested. However, she did not fight Mikoto. She fought one of Shiki's Shikigami, the Nikomata Shin, meeting the Yukai cat's anthropomorphic form for the same time, in fact. She, too, was defeated, but Shin's words better describe the events of that battle. "If she's going to go crazy like that when I beat her, I'd rather let her defeat me on the first place." The second test was a multiple-choice chemistry exam. Naruto got 101 correct answers out of 125, which elicited considerable praise from his sensei, and says a lot about the difficulty of the test. "I must apologize, Naruto. You have performed far beyond what I expected from you. I'm proud of you, boy." Naruto loved the third test, well, most of it. The mission Saya gave him was to infiltrate the Hyuga grounds at night and seize Hayashi's copy of Ika Paradise from his studio. He just knew he'd get to blackmail the Hyuga leader with this one day. Needless to say, Hayashi was never informed of this little test. For this test Naruto received the aid of an unlikely ally, Uchiha Sasuke. According to the test's rules, Sasuke could help him prepare the infiltration, but he was not allowed to go with him. After an entire month of studying the Hyuga's night guard and tracing tentative routes over a roughly sketched map of the Hyuga grounds and very loose estimates of the range of each guard's Byakugan, Naruto successfully, but far from easily, infiltrated the allied clan's territory and made it to Hayashi's office. However, he got awfully close to having an aneurysm when he found out the book wasn't there. Dejected, he was about to return home empty-handed when he was caught by the last Hyuga he would have expected. Hana-chan. It took a single blink for Hanabi's drowsiness to disappear completely. Naruto and MHMHMH. Sho. Naruto hissed as he pressed a hand on Hanabi's mouth. "I can't let anyone find me." After waiting for Hanabi to make a quick visit to the toilet, the reason she was up at such a late hour, quickly explaining his test to his friend and asking her if she had seen a book that fitted his description, Hanabi asked him to wait for her for a minute. Exactly 1 minute later, Hanabi returned with the dirty book in her tiny hands. How, where did you find it?" Hanabi's smile turned impossibly cute. "Hinata Wani-chan's bedroom." Naruto pretended he didn't hear that. Nevertheless, he passed the test. Unfortunately for him, Hanabi had already discovered the concepts of trade and negotiation. "You certainly took your time." This was Saya's greeting. Naruto grumbled and handed over the orange book. "Had to wait until Hana-chan fell asleep." "Hanabi-chan?" "Long story." Zombie Naruto uttered. It had taken everything he got to stop Hanabi from reading the dirty book. "Must sleep now." Have to wake up early tomorrow. Saya raised an eyebrow. How come? It's Sunday, isn't it? I'm Hana-chan's slave for a week. Oh, kinky. Shut up. The fourth test was his favorite so far, chemistry practical test. He had to prepare an explosive compound, a poison and a medical concoction, all three randomly picked by Shiki. It was the longest day of Naruto's life, but he pulled all three of them successfully. It was fun to watch Shiki pulling his hair off with every single of Naruto's mishaps, and the subsequent explosion that followed them. Damn it, can't you do the damn things without destroying my lab in the process? Nope. The fifth test was a more difficult version of the good old Hokage for a day. You look awfully relaxed today, Saru. Shiki commented at the sight of the village leader loafing on a couch of unknown origin. Well, it's not every Monday I can sit down and enjoy good tea in Dengo like this. I have to thank you for teaching him, he really is a godsend. I see you even got him assistance this time. Actually, they offered themselves up for the job. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not. Alright, let's do this. With a smile coated with confidence, Naruto began to give orders while standing under the doorframe of the Hokage's office. Cookie-chan, please issue a proper warning, make copies, and have a courier post them around the village, then get me the list of available genin and chunin. We need to do something about these defective storage scrolls, now. Hyuga Cookie, 20 years old, 5 feet 5 inches tall, long black hair, body sizes 34-25-33, nodded eagerly and took note of Naruto's words. She had a faint rosy blush on her cheeks for some reason. Naruto turned to the second girl, Hyuga Sumi, Cookie's identical twin, who was sporting an identical blush. Sumi-chan, tell the envoy from the Demolition Corps that they can use Training Area 41 for their outdoors test. Make sure to tell them to stick to Training Area 41, for Kami's sake. We already spend enough on landscape restoration. Hi, Naruto-sama. The twins giddily exclaimed in one voice. Naruto blinked a few times as the twins pranced away. Did they just call me Naruto-sama, kissed me on both cheeks and giggled as they bounced away? Sarutobi chuckled. Lucky brat. My boy, I think they did. Kaya. Naruto watched in alarm how the two girls stumbled and fell down the flight of stairs. What the dash? Cookie-chan. Sumi-chan. A small and familiar figure appeared out of a corner and looked down to the lower level, where the twins cried and groaned in pain after rolling all the way down. Oh my, that was certainly dangerous. Hinata stated matter-of-factly. You should really be more careful where you step. Cookie-san, Sumi-san. Turning to Naruto, she offered him her best smile. Naruto-kun. What a delightful surprise. Fortunately, the twins only got a few nasty bumps. Naruto made the mistake of visiting them at the infirmary a while later. He almost didn't make it to a meeting with the spokesperson of the merchants because the girls didn't want to stop, smothering him with affection. The sixth test was something completely new for him. Shiki came up with something he called a turn-based global-scale strategy simulation game. He made a map, divided it in several countries and created complete statistics for each country. Each player took control of a country and the objective was to take over as much of the map as possible. Since it was rather boring and unfair to pit Naruto alone against Shiki, more people were invited to the simulated fray. Sasuke, Shin the Nikomata, Hyuga Hayashi and the Sandaime Hokage joined the game, as well as 3 teams of 2, Nara Shikaku and his son Shikamaru, and the unexpected team-up of Mitarashi Anko and her best friend, the Chunin Yuhi Kurenai. The third team wasn't really a team. Hanabi bugged Naruto until he agreed to let her team up with him. It is a good moment to remember Hanabi doesn't know squat about politics or military strategy. Saya, Chen and Hinata distributed snacks and drinks around. Because of Hayashi's presence, Saya had to refrain from asking Hinata to put on a maid costume. She was sure the girl would have done it otherwise. Chen was more than willing to cosplay. On the other side, predictably enough, Sasuke was the first to fall. He immediately attacked Naruto, who had wisely spent his first turns cementing his political, economical and military stability, as well as establishing a secret alliance with Team Anko. Sasayaku Kaze no Jutsu helps a lot for this kind of thing. Everyone was surprised when Anko and Kurenai mobilized their troops to curb-stomp Sasuke's country together with Naruto. With the kid, Sasuke shot daggers at Shikaku and Hayashi after being dismissed like that. Gone, the game truly began. Sasuke watched quietly and learned. Hanabi wouldn't stop asking questions. Everyone concluded after that night that Naruto had the patience of a god to deal with that girl. The heir of Huran answered each and every single question to the best of his ability, always making sure Hanabi fully understood before moving on. Hanabi left that night knowing a lot about a topic she really had no reason to know at all. Sarutobi pondered the possibility of sending Naruto to teach at the academy in the future. Shiki concluded that, even if Naruto performed poorly in the game, his theoretical knowledge of military science was fairly complete. Kurenai commented on just how close Naruto and Hanabi seemed to be and the sheer aura of cute they irradiated when together. Saya joked about Hanabi being the only female in the world capable of exhausting Naruto. Hinata tripped and spilled a cup of tea on her father's head. Anyway, the game continued on three main fronts. On one side, Sarutobi defended himself as best as he could against the combined intellects of the Nara father-son combination. On another side, Shin played a heroic defense, pitting herself against both Shiki and Hayashi, who weren't allies, fortunately. Finally, Naruto found himself in dire threat when Anko, despite Kurenai's hesitation, played the traitor card and went after Naruto's nation, not before seizing Sasuke's former nation's resources for herself. The situation changed when Naruto managed to claim some independent territories at the same time he kept Anko at bay. After making a silent agreement with Shin, Naruto directed his new troops not towards Anko, but towards Hayashi. With a devastating pincer move, Shin and Naruto eliminated the Hyuga clan leader faster than he can say, Byakugan. Hayashi raised an eyebrow when Hanabi cheered and celebrated his downfall. Not much later, Sarutobi finally succumbed to the Nara team and surrendered. The shadow users immediately went after their next target, Team Anko. The two ladies, weakened after failing to defeat Naruto, were quickly dispatched by the blatantly superior strategic geniuses. With the temporary Naruto-Shin alliance disbanded after Shin swiftly and brutally claimed about half of Naruto's conquered territories in one brilliant sweep, the game became a cutthroat free-for-all. Naruto, acting surprisingly against his usual behavior, went for a strictly defensive policy, reinforcing his borders and taking a passive strategy which would turn out to be his downfall. Team Nara continued their also unusually aggressive strategy and went all out against Shiki, in what all the present considered the most interesting point of the game. Shin acted with the same astounding efficiency she had shown so far, quickly seizing a small portion of foreign territory and using the extra resources to attack another player, effectively keeping all of them at bay while she gradually amassed resources. Eventually, not even the Nara's combined IQ of over 350 could defeat Shiki's vastly superior knowledge of strategy. When Shiki began to claim the spoils, Naruto attacked, hoping to take him out when he was at his weakest. In that moment Shin ensured her victory. Since Shiki had to use all his resources to defend his nation against Naruto, he couldn't stop Shin from claiming the former Nara territories and used her newly gathered power to fall like a tidal wave on Naruto's nation, utterly obliterating him. Shiki defended himself brilliantly, but it was a losing battle, and he eventually lost the war of attrition. In the end, Shin was the absolute victor. And, once again, Aisho Nikomata are the superior race. Hey, isn't that catnip Hina-chan's holding? Catnip. Mine. Jaya. Anko chuckled at the sight of Shin assaulting Hinata for some inexistent catnip. That was evil, Naruto, boy. Good job. Thank you. Now stop her. Shiki added. It's getting kinda perverted. Where are you touching, Shin-san? There's nothing the Currently, Naruto is dealing with the one test he was not looking forward to. The 7th test was in the standard written exam form, and it was killing him. Covering every single topic Shiki had ever taught him, sans chemistry, of course, Naruto was facing the most difficult test ever. Ugh, and I can't even ask for help because I'm stuck with the ignorant one. Saya only raised an eyebrow. You are really asking for that ass-kicking, aren't you? Naruto rolled his mediums. Sheesh, where's Shiki-sensei, anyway? Saya's clone's face changed into a grave expression. He's dealing with some business. The world is infused with chakra, and it shapes its meandering course. Most people are incapable of noticing this natural flow of the world's essence, streaming, rising, falling. There are places, though, called geomantic nodes, domains of energy where so much power concentrates that it's hard not to notice them, even if people cannot understand just why these places feel so different. So unique. So alive. Geomancy is the science/art that strives to understand this natural flux of the world's power and even control it to a certain extent. It's hard to understand why geomancy uses a different set of elements, fire, wood, water, earth and metal, than standard chakra theory. The reason finds its roots on the fact that geomancy is far older than chakra theory. By the time it became obvious that the standard ninjutsu elements were different, no geomancer was willing to suddenly change all the theory to standardize the two sciences. Besides, the current theories work just fine, even with different elements, and this is because the two theories are simply incompatible and no geomancer or chakra theorist dares even attempt to merge them, believing that nothing but frustration would come out of something like that. Huran Shiki, being both geomancer and chakra theorist, managed to accomplish something more than frustration, with the aid of his wife. This is the reason Huran Taifuan no Shiki is, indeed, the ultimate secret of the Huran clan. It was their ultimate triumph, after all. The first Hokage was a decent geomancer, which explains why he built his hidden village under the continent's second most powerful geomantic node. When he arrived to the land that would become Konoha, he couldn't understand why such a powerful wood-type geomantic node was a barren wasteland. Not even the first and Shiki working together could figure out the reason. Their conclusion was that, at some point in the past, something had disrupted the flow of power in that region. Something powerful. In any case, that didn't stop the first from doing his Mokuton magic. While his foster child killed some brain cells by working on his exam, Huran Shiki enjoyed the scenery of the most powerful geomantic node in the whole continent. He was in Soa, a region on the southeastern portion of Taki no Kuni, the waterfall country. Even to the most ignorant, Soa was one of the most beautiful places in the world, a haven of greenery and natural life like any other. The waters of the Suwako, Lake Soa, always gave a plentiful hoard to the few fishermen of Soa village, and harvests were never poor. The scant population of Soa lived simple, humble lives under the shadow of Akiyama, Autumn Mountain. Nobody knows where the name came from or, to be more precise, nobody remembers anymore. But Shiki was not in Soa to visit the beautiful shrine of Soa village or to relax by the shores of Lake Soa. He was there for business. After traversing a natural road by the foot of Akiyama, he smiled in satisfaction when he heard the sound of running water and the loud cacophony of endless splashing. Passing through one last layer of thick vegetation, he made it to his destination. It was a small river of pristine beauty, clearly untouched by human hands. A majestic waterfall disturbed the otherwise absolute peace and quiet of that place. That and the fact that he wasn't alone. No wonder I didn't see any animals nearby. They're all here. A quick glance was all he needed. 3 from Kiri. Jounins. Just 2 jounins from Kumo, both female. A whole platoon of 5 from IWA? That's troublesome. Hard to tell who's a jounin and who's just a chunin there. On the other side, Suna just sent a genin team and their sensei. They must be nervous, the poor lads. 3 from Hidden Rain, no. 1 more is hidden, I don't see why, it's obvious everyone else has also noticed. A single 1 from Kusa and 3 from Takigakure, but they're in home ground, so there might be more. Welcome to Soa. I thank you all for coming here, representatives of your respective hidden villages. As you may have noticed, no one has come to represent Konoha, as they do not even know of this meeting. Shiki almost found the tension amusing. He was surprised he didn't arrive to find a massacre, they all looked just about to jump at each other's throats. I take it we are all aware of the reason for this meeting, which, allow me to say, I find utterly unnecessary. His eyes widened a little when a good portion of the overall killing intent was directed at him. He noticed that the only ones who didn't react negatively to his words were the envoys of Suna, Kusa and Taki. You already know that Hurazen has officially become a clan of Konoha. Another spike of killing intent allowed Shiki to realize his plan was working perfectly. None of the envoys wanted to be the first to draw weapons, they were all too wary of everyone else. He was safe. For how long? Only one way to find out. This is because we have adopted an orphan child from Konoha. He carries the name Hurazen now, therefore, Hurazen as a family is now registered in Konoha's records. The Sandaime himself, listening to my request, gave us the title of a clan, even if it's just the 3 of us. The Hurazen clan has traded in information and intangible services for a long time. We have shared information with each and every single hidden village. He looked at the envoys from Kirigakure. It was I who taught Fuinjutsu to the now legendary smith who forged the blades of your fabled shinobi swordsman. He turned to the Kumo ladies. My wife introduced Yokoziryu to Kumo when she taught it to your second Raikage, and it has now become the standard taijutsu style taught at your ninja academy. IWA. The city-sized geomantic array I created protects Iwagakure from being torn apart by earthquakes. Suna. Saya helped you design the greenhouses your shinobi use to grow the plants you use for medicines and poisons. And let's not forget she trained your third Kazekage. AIM. I was present during the negotiations that allowed AIM no Kuni to become an independent land, separated from Fire Country. Kusa. Saya is one of the reasons the walls of Kyuzugakure are nigh impassable. His eyes swept the whole place, searching the eyes of everyone else. Hurazen has helped you all equally and impartially, always following the proper rules of diplomacy and civilized manners. It is obvious to everyone here that in our interactions with your villages we have come to acquire information that you would find delicate in nature. It is just fair, we have generously shared our knowledge, and gained both knowledge and income in exchange. Saya and I swore to never share or trade with this information. To ensure your trust and protect our reputation, we have made an oath of absolute secrecy which we have never betrayed, and I challenge anyone here to say otherwise. You swore to never swear allegiance to any country or hidden village. The one who was obviously in charge of the Kiri group spoke in a rather rude tone. Just like his 2 companions, his face was covered with a mask and his clothes worked so as to conceal his features. Indeed. Shiki nodded. To this day, neither Saya or I have sworn allegiance to the third Hokage or the daimyo of Fire Country. My wife simply wanted a child, and I am not the one who will deny her this simple wish. Those of you who are parents hopefully understand that. The 2 Kumo women, looking to be around their late 20s, both smiled a bit. The sympathy card always works. Shiki thought. Why a child from Konoha? Circumstances, Jounin from Suna. Plain and simple circumstances. We could have easily picked a child from Wind Country, and then there would be a team from Konoha here instead of you and your genins. In any case, to prevent any political repercussions, Saya and I have decided to stop our little trading business. We will not negotiate with any country or hidden village. However, you can rest assured that your secrets will remain as such, and not even our son will be privy to them. Shiki's so far amiable voice took a rather serious tone. This is the message I had my network of contacts relay to you from the moment we adopted our child, but it seems some of you did not find it agreeable. It came to my knowledge that some of my informants were, in fact, killed by some of you. I hope no more unnecessary deaths will follow, but, just in case, I have asked my informants to move from their usual locations. A sudden flash of light drew many pairs of eyes to a corner of the open meeting place. Put away your weapons, Shinobi of IWA. Shiki spoke calmly. No violence will be allowed in this pure and sacred land. Bullshit. One of the IWA nin claimed. Your bitch is probably selling our secrets to the Hokage as we speak. Shiki didn't pay attention to the murmurs of agreement from the Kiri and Kusa sides. He was using every single bit of willpower he had to not kill that IWA shinobi on the spot. No one spoke of his wife like that. He had to make sure the insolent understood that. My policy of not desecrating this beautiful place is the only thing that keeps your heart beating, IWA nin-san. Unfortunately, I have no way to prove to you that your secrets remain safe. It is simply a question of trust. We have not betrayed you before. We have no intention to do it now, even if the circumstances have changed. Like I explained, we owe no allegiance to the third Hokage, even if our name is now affiliated with Konoha. It is up to you and your leaders whether to believe us or not. Well then. Shiki bowed curtly. Unless anyone has anything else to say, I shall take my leave now. The sound of laughter interrupted his honest intention of leaving. Curiously enough, it came from one of the aim nin. Please, Horazan-san, do not make fun of us. Do you seriously believe you will leave this place alive? Shiki almost snorted, but wisely chose not to do so. I honestly cannot think of a reason that would suggest otherwise. Even if you are sincere, and I cannot help but believe you are. The aim nin continued while drawing a kunai. The risk of you leaking information to Konoha simply cannot be tolerated. Balance of powers, you see. Shiki found that funny. And this is what Saya just doesn't understand. I see. I'd like to suggest you to keep any assassination attempts for a later time, though. In fact, I sincerely suggest you all to depart from this place immediately. Shiki didn't know if they just accepted his honest words or saw, underneath the underneath. For any reason, the Suna, Kyumo, Kusa and Taki teams disappeared in the sudden way only ninjas can. That left IWA, AIM and Kiri. Shiki could only pray for their poor souls. Or he could try one last time. Please, put away your weapons. I won't fight in this sacred place. If you are intelligent, you won't, either. That only makes things easier for us. An IWA nin leapt over the riverbank, trying to fall upon Shiki with the ninjutsu he was drawing in midair. Shiki didn't move. There was no need to. When the attacker was in the highest point of his long jump, right above the middle of the small river, a dragon made out of pure water emerged from the waterfall, swallowed him whole and disappeared on the rapid waters, to the awe and shock of both present and hidden. And, that's why I won't lift a hand in this place. Fighting here? Shiki shook his head condescendingly. Bad idea. The remaining shinobi's killing intent was utterly drowned by a new presence that invaded the place with the subtlety of a steamroller. It wasn't killing intent or anything remotely close. It wasn't even aggressive. It was simply powerful. Too noisy. About time she shows up. Shiki thought. I was actually getting nervous for a second there. She didn't look older than 12. She was completely naked, openly showing her flawless milky skin and two small, perky pink nipples on a perfectly flat chest. She had impossibly long blonde hair that, when seen under the right light from the right angle, actually seemed to glow orange. She was rubbing her big green eyes with a tiny hand while she yawned. She was emerging from behind the waterfall, walking on the surface of the river like any decent ninja can. She was wearing the most outrageous headpiece ever. It was a dragon's head, minus the jaw. And it was huge, way bigger than any girl her size should be able to carry on her head. And it looked awfully real, as if the girl had killed a real dragon for the sole purpose of wearing his head. The head was roughly 4/7 the size of the girl. Its eyes had been replaced by huge emeralds. Smaller gems were studded on its skin and long, multicolored strips of paper with strange symbols written on them hung limply from its horns. "You are too noisy," the girl complained again. The many shinobi present didn't need Shiki's IQ to figure out the newcomer was no ordinary little girl. That information didn't help much, though. "Who are you?" The Iwanin who said this cannot really be blamed. It is the obvious question. The girl's drowsiness disappeared, to be replaced by a narrow, sharp gaze and a half-smile that oozed pride and confidence. "I return the question to you, Shinobi. Who are you to speak to me with such an insolent tone?" She blinked, and her shiny emerald eyes became yellow and reptilian. "I do not tolerate any form of violence within my abode. Disobey me and perish." "Oi, Saya. I need to get wasted." "Good afternoon to you too, Anko." Saya muttered darkly right before sidestepping a palm thrust charged with organ-damaging chakra. "Yeah, sure, whatever. Take out the booze. Don't you see?" She moved her head to the left in time to avoid the fingers that would have pierced her right eye. "I'm in the middle." She made a backflip to get away from the low sweeping kick aimed to knock her off balance. "Of something here?" The sweeping kick suddenly became a reverse high roundhouse kick. Saya bent her upper body backwards and let the air explode above her as the foot swept past. "Ooh, nice, Hinata." "Thank you." The Hyuga heiress growled. "Now give me a prize and let me hit you." "See, you hitting me would hurt. A lot." "I kinda don't like getting hurt." "Sure, I don't mind some kinky games with Shikideer every now and then, but that's different." The words acted as the perfect distraction, as Hinata's vivid imagination created a horrible mental image that sent inexplicable amounts of blood to the girl's face. A second later, she had been knocked off her feet and sent down to the grass, giving Saya the chance to focus on the newcomers. Ever since Huran became a clan of Konoha, Training Area 69 lost its status of secret area. Everyone was free to enter the Huran district that was not a district, just like with any other district. Then again, not many people have reasons to visit the Huran. "So, what were you saying, Anko and Kurenai?" Indeed, a beautiful woman with curly black hair and crimson eyes stood a step behind Anko. She was wearing a chunin vest and a dejected look on her face. "I said bring out the booze, woman. Kurenai-chan and I are going to drink ourselves senseless." "I thought that's what bars are for," she replied as she calmly sidestepped Hinata's attempt at tripping her, swiftly dropping a heel on Hinata's stomach, pushing the air out of her lungs and making her curl up into a moaning, groaning ball. "That was just low, Hinata." She turned back to Anko. "So, really, why are you two here?" "But Saya." Anko pouted. "You have the really good booze. Kami, she's like the female, sexy, alcoholic version of Naruto, which is appropriate in so many ways." "Ugh, alright, whatever. You know where it is. There are cups in the kitchen, of course." "Alright." Anko's effusiveness startled the other three ladies present. "Yup, just like Naruto," Saya thought. "Let's go, Kurenai-chan." Saya followed the duo with her eyes. "Kurenai, while not nearly as enthusiastic as her friend, didn't seem to mind being dragged around by her. I wonder what happened to those two. Please do not interrupt Naruto-kun. Hinata's sudden intervention took everyone by surprise. Anko, who hadn't really bothered to pay attention to the girl Saya had been beating the crap out of until that moment, turned to look at the Hyuga heiress. The cold, threatening stare she received from the younger girl actually surprised her. Kurenai, too, seemed to be quite impressed by the power Hinata had infused into her stare. It wasn't the standard "I'm a Hyuga" stare they were unpleasantly used to. It was a silent "or else." That finished Hinata's polite request. Anko blinked. Who's the brat? Kurenai rolled her eyes. You have to be joking. Anko crossed her arms under her chest, which had the interesting side effect of lifting her magnificent bosom. While Saya's mind shouted curses at the unfairness of the world, she answered Anko's question. Hyuga Hinata. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned her before, even if it's the first time you two actually meet here, which is surprising. I mean, Hinata has come here almost every day for the last 4 years. Anyway, she's my apprentice. Nope, don't remember. How am I supposed to remember the things you tell me when I'm getting wasted, anyway? Saya felt like bashing her head against a wall. Repeatedly. Even Hinata blinked, finding it impossible to not find Anko's antics surprisingly Naruto-esque. Please, Anko, it's standard knowledge. Kurenai added. Hyuga Hinata, you know, clan heiress, Hyuga Hayashi's first daughter. Oh. Anko dropped a fist on the opposite palm. You're Himiko's girl. Oh, training the mother and now training the daughter? Planning to train the grandchildren, too? Saya chuckled and shook her head. Don't think I'll live that long. Sake's waiting, Anko. Oh, right. Sake. Anko cheered, dragging a startled Kurenai with her. Jire grandchildren? Hinata was blushing, her mind already figuring out what needed to happen for her departed mother to have grandchildren. As in, why with Naruto-kun? Q nosebleed. Q passing out. Damn, that was one hell of an association. Saya raised an eyebrow. Kami, I love this girl. Even if she's a bit loose in the head. Who am I to complain, anyway? Due to their distance and the fact of the house's walls being soundproof, Saya couldn't hear what Anko and Kurenai heard the moment they entered the residence to get their hands on some fine sake. Piano. While one Naruto furiously slid a brush on a scroll on the dining table, another Naruto played a strange tune on the exotic instrument. It was obvious to the newcomers that it was a song they had never heard before. In a way, it was different from anything they had heard before. It was fast-paced. It was furious. It was playful. It was exciting. It was mysterious. It was a promise of a fantastic clash and of epic heroics, from the perspective of an innocent child with one hell of an imagination. It was light. It was bright. It was powerful. It was all those things at the same time. It was Naruto. Damn, I'm awesome. Piano player Naruto declared after the last note. The Saya clone clapped slowly. The original Naruto still scribbled away furiously. Well, that was certainly interesting. When did you come up with that? A while ago. I wanted to know if I was good enough to make my own song. It was hard to find chances to practice without being noticed. Clone Saya nodded. Yeah, I was about to ask about that. How did you do it? I practice when the real you and Shiki-sensei are doing the nasty. Oh, smart. Saya declared, before grinning. But sometimes we clones join in the fun, too. That's what makes Kage Bunshin so interesting. Whoa. Too much information. The clone slowly backed away from his surrogate mother. The original Naruto groaned and slumped on the desk, trying to cover his ears and forget the last few seconds of his life. Anko announced his presence, not that Saya and Naruto hadn't noticed her, though, by chuckling. Ah, come on, the brat still hasn't recovered from the talk, you know. Naruto's eyes widened at the memory of the most utterly horrifying episode of his life. Why, you monster. Oh, suck it up, boy. Anko laughed at Naruto's reaction to the word suck, which involved his skin taking an unhealthy green tone and a coalescence of puke going halfway up his throat before going back down again. Needless to say, Naruto's version of the talk was rather unconventional. There. Kurenai patted the real Naruto's head rather clumsily, only to get a glare in return. Don't you dare. Naruto growled. You were there, too. You helped them do that to me. Kurenai's smile turned rather forceful. You are aware I was the one who made sure they didn't go too far, aren't you? I can't help but think you failed at that, Kurenai-chan. Terribly. Saya came up with a fake pout aimed at her dear son. Ah, come up, you should appreciate that your dear mother gathered such an elite team of experts for such an important lecture. Elite my ass. Only one way to find out. Anko chuckled at the nasty curse the blonde uttered under his breath, directed at disgusting snake freaks. He began to count with his fingers. Anko. Hey, you can't deny I'm an expert. Shut up. Saya could have sworn Naruto's green magatamas became brown for a second there. He lifted a second finger. Kurenai-chan. Atsuko-chan. Mayumi-chan. Mikoto-chan. And that crazy ANBU lady whose name I don't even want to remember. Oh, Yugugo-chan. Anko declared happily. Saya's face showed recognition. Naruto growled something undecipherable. The clone was banging his head against the piano keys, hoping it would dispel him. Ah, right. Nice girl. Did you invite her, Anko? Yup. Met her on the way here and asked her if she wanted to teach sex ed to a brat. She said, sure, why not, and you know the rest. I hate you so much. Oh, whatever. I came here for booze. Anko declared before striding towards the cabinets. Sasuke actually passed out. I'm going to blackmail him with that for years, but, damn, he passed out. Kurenai chuckled. Saya was a bit more vocal. He won't be looking at his mother the same ever again, that's for sure. He was cursing Itachi and Ai-san for leaving him to restore the clan. Naruto stated. Saya ignored the boy. Too bad Hayashi didn't let me teach Hinata. So, Hayashi-kun, can I teach your girl about sex? Hell no. Party pooper. Then again, I get the feeling Hinata-chan doesn't really need education. Suddenly she gasped in excitement. Maybe we should prepare something for Hanabi-chan. Hell no. Naruto rose from his seat, challenging the three women with a heated glare. Keep Hana-chan out of your perverted, sick, twisted games. Ah, come on, it was fun. And educational. It was wrong. Naruto whined. And sick. It was wrong sick. Kurenai actually giggled. In front of a cabinet, Anko cheered to herself when she found the much elusive booze. My, so protective. Saya raised an eyebrow, feeling playful. Unless you intend to teach her yourself? Naruto became a stuttering, blushing mass, much to Saya's and Kurenai's amusement. Anko snorted as she moved to get some cups. Pfft, the boy's too much of a wimp. At this rate he'll only kiss a girl in, 20 years. In an act of wisdom of epic proportions, Naruto chose not to reveal he had already kissed a girl, the exact same girl they were talking about. More like the girl kissed him, and the girl in question still has no idea of the significance of kissing, but the point gets across. Ugh, can we just Stop talking about that. I really should get back to my exam. Stop talking about what? Sex? Anko teased. Naruto squirmed in authentic physical pain. Kurenai kneeled closer to the traumatized boy. You know, you should be grateful they only explain things to you. Kurenai whispered. Anko was insisting on making a live demonstration with Yuzuki-san. Now that I didn't need to know. Mikoto was too busy blushing to complain, it was actually your mother who stopped them. Doesn't make her any less of a perv. True, but that perv loves you, Naruto-kun. Naruto eyed the shadow clone of her foster mother, who at the moment was trying to stop Anko from emptying the sake bottle in her stomach before serving it. Fair enough. Few minutes later, the three females were enjoying their sake around the same table where Naruto struggled with one of the last remaining questions, explain the two main causes of market failure and give an example of each. Anko eyed the scroll oddly. Just what the hell are you doing, brat? Busy. Can't talk. What about your shadow clone? Anko eyed the Naruto sitting by the piano. He's doing an exam, Anko. Saya clone explained. Not all of his tests can be fun and interesting, after all. We cannot spoil him much. She focused on Anko and Kurenai. What are you two doing here, I wonder? There has to be a damn you reason you want to get wasted so badly. Anko grimaced. Kurenai lowered her head, looking crestfallen. Saya frowned. Okay, now you have to tell me what's wrong. The special jounin took a sip of her drink, as if hoping to get rid of some horrible taste in her mouth. The list of jounin candidates was announced today. Saya closed her eyes. She could guess Anko's unannounced words. Too bad. Yeah, it sucks. Anko shot a glance at Kurenai. Kurenai-chan wanted to take a genin team. She might have ended up teaching your kid. Naruto, while interested in the conversation, really needed to focus on his test, so he let his clone do the talking. Jounin? Saya rolled her eyes. Explanations were more Shiki's thing. There are several ways to reach jounin rank. The most common one is by making it to the yearly recommendations. The first Hokage came up with the system because, well, a Hokage cannot keep track of every single shinobi's performance. Basically, other people send suggestions of possible jounin candidates to the Hokage. The old man checks who got the most and the best recommendations and makes a list of potential candidates. This is the list Anko was talking about, and it's obvious she didn't make it. Neither did Kurenai, it seems. Of course I didn't make it. Anko spat. It's a damned popularity contest. Having the right friends certainly helps, I'll admit. Saya said. There's a lot of politics involved, and that's not precisely your forte, Anko, dear. Fuck you. That's Shiki's job, dear. Kurenai actually had to hide a blush. Naruto snorted and focused his attention on the test. Horizon Shiki. With just her calling his name, he fell on his knees. Heaving and grabbing handfuls of grass with his hands, Shiki struggled to not lose either his sanity or the contents of his stomach. Now that was the girl's killing intent. It was like a physical pressure on his back, a knife in his guts and a flame that seared his skin slowly and painfully, all together. He was sure that, should he be able to look up, he would see trees bending and withering and stones cracking by the intangible force. Your insolence is only second to your arrogance. The girl declared as she took a step closer to him. Shiki bit his lip and tried to keep his tears in his eyes, even if he knew it was pointless. The girl resumed her march amongst the bodies of dead shinobi. You used me, Horizon. You brought this group of imbeciles to my home on purpose, knowing that I don't tolerate violence in my shrine. You knew I would attack them the moment they attacked you. You knew, and you were expecting me to. There was an explosion of power, a peak of deadly intent focused on one single man, who couldn't do anything but collapse on the grass, drooling and crying pathetically. The tips of the girl's long golden hairs were painted red with blood they collected as she walked over the bodies of the massacred shinobi. It had all begun when the hidden Aimnin tried to take the girl out from behind. Nobody saw what happened. An instant after he appeared ready to strike the back of her head, his body fell on the river, in pieces, his head, arms, and legs severed from his body with perfectly clean cuts. And the carnage began. Less than 2 minutes later, it was just the girl and the Lord of Huran. She looked down at his pitiful form with the contempt a person stares at an ant. Give me a good reason not to end your existence right now. That was it. Shiki's one and only chance. Finding strength he didn't know he had, he gathered his will and his chakra despite the overwhelming pressure of the presence before him, and dispelled one single seal. With a poof of smoke, a paper bag appeared by the small girl's left foot. I brought taiyaki. Oh, taiyaki. And it was over. The pressure. The danger, the all-consuming feeling of helplessness and inevitable doom. There was only a man on the ground and a girl sitting on a rock in the middle of the river, happily eating fish-shaped waffles. So. Shiki murmured, still struggling to catch his breath. Are we good, Hinaheim-sama? Sure. This is heavenly. Shiki let go a long sigh of relief and exasperation. I'll never complain about the gods' fickleness again. Never. Sheesh, I'm too old for this. He took his time regaining his composure while the little goddess enjoyed her treat. With the way she happily munched and the way her short legs swung pointlessly on the water surface, anyone could have confused her with a simple child. Save for the huge dragon head. And the nudity. Shiki. The seal master, walking with wobbly legs, claimed a nearby rock on the river as his seat. Why didn't you just kill them yourself? Shiki smiled. I do not like unnecessary fights. You just make someone else do the fighting for you. Exactly. There was no point in hiding anything from the goddess anymore. In fact, hiding anything would probably be a terrible idea. And I didn't want to try my luck against 22 shinobi. I'm not that confident of my combat skills. The girl muttered with the tone of someone who obviously isn't really paying attention. Why didn't you bring your wife, then? She has matters to attend to. More. The girl demanded, showing Shiki an empty bag. Immediately, Haim-sama. Don't call me that. She pouted as she hastily grabbed a second bag of taiyaki. I'm not a princess anymore. Of course you are. Shiki disagreed. The fact that you left the Ryugu doesn't change anything. You are Ryugu Hina-sama, second daughter of the Dragon Queen. One of the princesses of dragonkind. Hina rolled her eyes and dropped her head. And I just don't care. We will not talk about this anymore. As you wish, Hina-sama. The draconic goddess smiled a bit in appreciation of Shiki changing the way he addressed her. So, how have you been? I hadn't seen you in, how long has it been? 7 years, I believe. I was in Soa one more time after that, but I didn't stop by. You have my most sincere apologies. Don't worry. Truly, she was a different person when she was in a good mood. So, when did you last come to Soa? A little over 5 years ago. I came to meet Suka-sama. We didn't have much time for pleasantries, either. That's bad. You're always so busy, Huran, just like a common human. I revel on what little humanity I have. Hina blinked, as if noticing something, before offering him a compassionate gaze. You don't have much time left, do you? Shiki shook his head. That is of no importance. You will be missed, Huran. I do enjoy our conversations, and you always bring taiyaki. Taiyaki. Shiki chuckled. Goddesses. He pulled out a scroll. Hina-sama, do you remember the last time we conversed? My memory happens to be infinitely better than yours. More. Of course. After unsealing another bag of hot taiyaki, he was running out of it, which worried him. He resumed his original idea. Then you do remember we talked for a while about humans' technology. Yes, yes. I thought you might enjoy this scroll, then. If there was something Hina enjoyed more than taiyaki, it was knowledge. Like all dragons, Hina is a sage, a collector of lore. This is the main reason she actually stands Shiki's presence, for he is a fellow savant. Thank you. Hina received the scroll with a pleasant surprise. It will keep me busy for a while, I hope. So, we both know how this works. What do you want? Shiki smiled and slowly shook his head, causing the dragon girl to raise an eyebrow. Nothing? I know you better than that, Horazon. You want something. Her eyes widened a bit. Unless. She covered her chest with her tiny arms and the taiyaki bag. Well, I can't blame you if you're lusting after my body. It was Shiki's turn to raise an eyebrow. I apologize for my rudeness, Hina-sama, but your current form doesn't do it for me at all. Hina smirked as she looked down at her infant body. Well, that can be fixed. Shiki loved his wife. He loved her more than anything. He loved her immensely and he had remained faithful to her his entire existence. However, he knew that, if the dragon goddess demanded him to give her pleasure, he would have to do so. There is no room for negotiation when dealing with a powerful goddess. Oh, well. Your loss, Horazon. Shiki concealed a sigh of relief. It definitely is, Hina-sama. Hina smiled sweetly. You have a way with words, deathless. So, what is it that you want? The world went silent as the two challenged each other with their cold, emotionless gazes. The air did not dare whistle. The cool, barren land would not stand between them. The wasteland that marked the scenery of their final battle stood still, expectant. The hollow twilight of the first hour of night embraced the two, eager to welcome them both into the sweet peace of eternal darkness. You have no idea how long I've waited for this, Itachi. Itachi didn't bother to mention that Sasuke looked exactly the same as the last time he had seen him. You shouldn't have come. Do you really think you can fight me, brother? I will defeat you. I will make you cry for mercy. Sasuke's mature Sharingan, how that happened, Itachi wondered, gleamed, reflecting its owner's emotions. Itachi closed his eyes, unable to suppress a sigh. It was truly regrettable. Why couldn't his foolish little brother be more like Naruto? The Hokage-to-be was actually training properly, getting ready for a truly epic battle in a few years. But no, his stupid sibling had to just jump into the fray with the delusion of actually having a chance. It seems I was not thorough enough that night, foolish Sasuke. He concluded, opening his eyes once more. The black tomo of Itachi's Sharingan shifted and changed as he triggered the ultimate form of his Kekkai Genkai. Very well. Class is in session. I will clearly show you the difference in our levels, Tsuku-Tsukuyomi. Itachi didn't even have time to go WTF, before everything went black. An instant later, the darkness receded into the flowery scenario of Sasuke's Tsukuyomi. At the sight of the sea of colorful blossoms that carpeted the land as far as he could see, Itachi said something he would normally not say in any other circumstance. What the fuck? He didn't even bother trying to get free. He was bound to a wooden cross, and he knew the bindings were perfect. At least that didn't change in his little brother's Tsukuyomi. In fact, this didn't bother him in the slightest. It was the shining sun, the lively scenery of flowers and the neurotic perfume of a perfect spring day which disturbed him immensely. What kind of horrible torture was this? And where the hell was Sasuke anyway? Poof! A explosion of smoke. Itachi's eyes widened as he stared in shock at the object of torture Sasuke had called upon. You wouldn't dare. The elder sibling hissed, his words seething killing intent and barely suppressed rage. The floating box of chocolate Pocky suddenly grew cartoonish hands and legs and began a silly dance in front of Itachi. Yes. Sasuke's disembodied voice echoed throughout the beautiful flower field, triumphant and mocking. It contrasted severely with the landscape of utter beauty and serenity he had created. For the next 72 hours, the big family of Pocky flavors will dance for you. More Pocky boxes than Itachi could eat in his life emerged from the hiding places among the flowers, taking positions around the slayer of the Uchiha clan. Unable to reach them. Unable to taste them. Unable to enjoy them. You will be doomed to have them just beyond your grasp. You will be forced to watch them lure you and seduce you. You will be forced to want them, while knowing they will never be yours. They began their silly dance. Poor Itachi didn't know where to look. Cry, Nai-san. Cry and suffer. Itachi's scream was as intense as it was pitiful. Ayaha! With a gasp, Uchiha Itachi awakened. His first action once he returned to the realm of the conscious was to desperately slam his hand on the side table, seeking the much-needed ambrosia. When his fingers felt the all-too-familiar texture and shape of the box, he hurriedly seized it and used his other hand to stuff his mouth with the snack like the man who tastes water for the first time after days under the harsh desert sun. He didn't stop until his mouth was stuffed with the thing, his jaw munching with an eagerness that would make an Akimichi proud. Yes, Pocky is heaven. Calmly seated on the only other bed in the tenebrous room, Hoshigaki Kisame stared at his roommate with a mixture of awe, disgust and plain bafflement. Well, that was amusing. The tall man with blue skin and shark-like features, clad in the trademark black with red clouds Akatsuki cloak, waited calmly while Itachi properly chewed the excessive amount of Pocky in his mouth. It was obvious the young Uchiha was having some trouble. Ask me for water and I'll sway-ton your ass out of the cave. Kisame joked, which prompted a deadly glare from his roommate. 1 minute later, once all the Pocky was well on its way to Itachi's stomach, he swiftly and properly explained his unusual behavior. Bad dream. Kisame rolled his eyes. He didn't want to imagine how one thing could be related to the other. Whatever. I'm off to get breakfast. I'd ask if you want to come, but I'd say you're rather full now. The shark man chuckled at the spike of killing intent he got in response. Seizing his trusty Samahata, he walked to the door of their cavern/bedroom, not paying attention to his roommate. After getting properly dressed, no, he does not sleep in the cloak, Itachi quickly stored the now half-empty Pocky box somewhere under his cloak. Once he made sure his other Pocky boxes were still where he kept them, never hurts to be sure, he followed Kisame to the dining room. Unlike the many other Akatsuki hideouts all over the continent, the main Akatsuki den of evil was more properly equipped to house 9, 10 until recently, dangerous and, well, quite eccentric, S-rank Nins. By order of their nameless leader they slept in pairs, there were 2 beds in each room, even if there were enough rooms for each of them. Apparently the extra rooms were for, in the words of the leader, guests. The others guessed it was the leader's nice way to say prisoners, hopefully Jinchuriki. The dining room was, after the meeting room where the infamous group strategizes and discusses their evil plans of abominable perversion, the most illuminated room in the otherwise quite depressing Akatsuki cave. The large, rectangular, tall table had enough seats for the entire group, but only one was occupied that morning. Zetsu, the former Kusanin with the right half of his body in white and the other half in black, acknowledged Kisame's and Itachi's presence with a glance barely visible behind the tall flytrap leaves that emerged from his shoulders. The empty table showed Zetsu either was done with breakfast or wasn't there for breakfast at all. The only sounds that could be heard in the hollow vastness of the Akatsuki cave came from the kitchen. Oi! Kisame exclaimed, his face shifting into a dolphin-eating grin. Kahaku-chan. Oh, it's Kisame-kun. A distinctively female voice responded from within the cloistered kitchen. While the two newcomers took seats, the owner of the voice emerged from behind a wall. Sweating barrels and dirted with soot up to the tip of her nose, the official Akatsuki chef emerged from her battlefield. Iri Kahaku was a tall female, being taller than Itachi by almost 2 inches, and she was proud of it. Everybody in Akatsuki was familiar with the shoulder-length gray hair, the pale skin and the amber eyes that are her namesake. However, nobody in Akatsuki had ever seen the body under the loose clothes. Being too big for her, they made a good job of hiding her proportions, whichever they were. Looking no older than 20, the dirty cook grinned at the newcomers. Didn't know you were here, you two. Just arrived last night. Kisame explained. So, what's today's menu? Kahaku grinned mischievously. Well, I was thinking of shark fin soup, followed by weasel cooked in its own juices, topped with seasonal herbs. Silence. TCH. Nobody has a sense of humor in this stupid cave. Kahaku turned her head towards the wall of rock that separated the dining room from the furnace that was the kitchen. Oi! Toby! Move your ass and get to cooking. We have customers. Itachi's gaze narrowed. Kisame only frowned. Toby? Kahaku SAOWOWOWOWOW. Hot. A youthful voice complained behind the wall. Of course it's hot, you idiot, it's a frickin' oven. Noticing the looks on Kisame's and Itachi's faces, Kahaku quickly explained. Apparently he came here following Zetsu and saying he wanted to join Akatsuki, so Leader Sama gave him the lowliest job he could think of. It seems Leader Sama's definition of lowest of the low is being my assistant. The two partners switched from Kahaku to Zetsu. He just followed you here? Kisame repeated. Zetsu only shrugged. He followed you into our secret hideout? Zetsu shrugged again. And you let him? Zetsu shrugged for the 3rd time. This time, however, he actually voiced a response. I didn't see the point of killing him. Kisame decided not to ask the plant man just what part of secret Akatsuki hideout he didn't get. And the leader just gave him a job. Just like that. Zetsu nodded. I'll admit I was surprised, too. Kisame made an odd face before shrugging. Whatever. He turned back to Kahaku. Itachi seemed to have found a very interesting crack on the rock wall to look at. So, how is he? Kahaku smiled a bit. He's got lots to learn, but at least he keeps me company. It gets damn boring around here at times. Whoa. Kahaku and Kisame cringed at the sound of dozens of pieces of kitchenware clattering and collapsing on one poor man. Itachi only frowned. Zetsu, who apparently was trying to nap, raised an eyelid to look at the wall. Damn it, Toby, what are you doing back there? Kahaku shot an apologetic look at Kisame and mouthed a sorry before storming back to the kitchen. 20 minutes or so later, Kisame and Itachi were enjoying a plentiful and balanced breakfast courtesy of Kahaku's enviable cooking skills. Since there was no sign of the leader and/or his permanent female companion, the kitchen staff of 2 seized the chance to join the 3 powerful missing men at the dining table. This is how Kisame and Itachi met Toby. While the fact that he was wearing dirty, baggy white clothes identical to Kahaku's, and a white apron which was just as dirty, was curious enough, what caught the two's attention was the orange spiral mask that covered his head. Kahaku and Kisame ate. Zetsu apparently slept. Toby, who wasn't eating breakfast, seemed to be fixated on Itachi for some reason. It was hard to tell with the mask and all. The 2 eaters did notice Itachi hadn't touched his meal, though. He seemed to be quite interested in his chopsticks, examining them with a gaze as penetrating as it could be without activating the Sharingan. Kahaku intervened. Is there something not to your liking in today's meal, Itachi-kun? Kisame snorted. Quit it already, Itachi, they're chopsticks, not pocky sticks. Itachi focused his dark eyes on his partner. As a matter of fact, they are pocky sticks. Kisame and Kahaku looked more carefully at Itachi's chopsticks, confirming that they were, in fact, sticks of his favorite snack. What the? Kisame muttered, but Kahaku only looked at Tobi, who sheepishly, or so Kahaku thought, once again, chuckled, scratching the back of his head, He, well, we, kinda ran out of chopsticks, so I was thinking of what to do when I remembered Kahaku-san told me Itachi-san likes Pocky a lot. I thought it would be nice, you know. You eat your breakfast and then you eat your chopsticks as dessert. Cool, huh? I like Pocky. The next thing he felt was Kahaku's left fist smashing his forehead. OWWW. Kahaku-chan. The masked cook whined. Idiot. What kind of stupid idea is that? Kisame actually looked amused. Itachi doesn't seem to mind. Indeed, the rogue Uchiha was doing as Tobi suggested, calmly using the Pocky sticks as chopsticks, being careful not to break them. Breakfast time was spent in idle conversation. So, Leader Sama told me Orochimaru-san quitted, you know? How did that happen? Kisame shrugged. No idea. Itachi? Itachi looked at Kisame, then at Kahaku, and finally at Tobi, who was making figures with grains of rice. No idea. Kisame and Kahaku looked at each other, but decided not to insist. Well, good riddance I say. Kahaku declared. I didn't like the way he looked at me. I think he doesn't like me. No kidding. Kisame muttered sarcastically. I wonder why that would be. Humph, jackass. Look, Kahaku-san. It's a cat. Tobi proudly presented his work of art on rice. The cat, says Maya. The sound of Kahaku punching Tobi again. OWWW. Don't play with the food. Don't play with my food. Hey, Tobi, aren't you gonna eat? Ah, Kahaku-san, thanks but no thanks. I'm not hungry yet. Kahaku shot a sharp look at the masked cook. Now that I think about it, I've never seen you eat. Really? Tobi tilted his head. And I've never seen your face under that stupid mask. Hey! Tobi actually shifted backwards defensively. Don't diss the mask. Kahaku-san. I can't believe you don't see the awesomeness of this mask. It's orange. It's a mask. It's an orange mask. With spirals. Tobi explained, with wild arms gestures for added effect. Kahaku and Kisame side-glanced at each other, unsure of how to respond to that. Whatever. But, really, why do you cover your face like that? Kahaku inquired. Tobi gulped, as the female obviously touched a subject he didn't enjoy. Very nasty scar. Kahaku snorted. Oh, please. As if anyone here would care. She pointed at Kisame. Fishman. Her hand moved to point at Zetsu. Plant man. Orochimaru was a snake freak. And please, oh please don't let me get started with Sasori and Kakuzu. She pointed at Itachi to her right with her right thumb. Itachi-kun here is the most normal looking. Remind me again why I haven't killed you, Kahaku-chan. Kisame grumbled as he lowered his head and focused on his soup. Because you can't. Nobody can. That's why I'm here on the first place. And because you love my food. Kisame exhaled loudly, followed by a rather loud belch. Itachi, who had yet to finish his meal, actually winced at that. That was great. You've outdone yourself, Kahaku-chan. Kahaku waved her left hand dismissingly. Bah, you always say that. You only want to get me under your bed sheets, Kisame-kun. The tall man grinned mischievously. Am I getting close? Itachi wondered if he could suffocate himself by burying his face in his bowl of rice. Kahaku chuckled. Nah, sorry. You know what they say about fire and water, they just don't mix. Nothing personal. You sure are good at making up excuses. Well, what can I say? It's an art I've developed, just like my cooking. Oh. Everyone, but Zetsu, looked at Itachi, who was staring in mild surprise at the broken pocky sticks he had been using as chopsticks. Ah. They broke. Thank you for stating the obvious, Toby. What are we gonna do now? The masked one cried. However, everyone face-faulted when Itachi calmly withdrew a spoon from who knows where and resumed his meal. Everyone watched him eat in utmost silence for a few seconds, until Kisame spoke again. Itachi. Hn? Do you always carry that spoon with you? Hn. Why? Itachi shrugged. Hn. Right. Why didn't you take it out from the beginning? I liked the chopsticks. Ha! Toby exclaimed triumphantly. I knew it. Shut up. Kahaku promptly knocked her assistant out. This is a madhouse. There wasn't much left, so Itachi didn't take more than 2 minutes to finish. Having done this, he focused his piercing eyes on Toby. Toby. Yes? Itachi-san? He raised his right hand to eye level. This. He began. Is a spoon. No kidding. Kahaku mumbled, only to get a kick under the table. She glared at Kisame, whose face screamed, be quiet. There's no messing with Uchiha Itachi when he's serious. Yes. Toby agreed with Itachi's obvious statement. It is not just any spoon. It is my spoon. Yes. Itachi extended his hand towards Toby. Now it is yours. Welcome, and thank you for the chopsticks. Kisame and Kahaku gaped at the sight of tears coming out in torrents from the single hole in Toby's bizarre mask. Itachi-san. He clasped the Uchiha's hand with both of his, seizing the piece of cutlery with unusual reverence. Thank you very much. Itachi-san. You don't know how much this means to me. I'll treasure it forever. And treasure it he did, holding it the way Hyuga Hanabi holds her precious fox plushie she got on her 6th birthday from Huran Uzumaki Naruto. On a side note, both Hayashi and the Hyuga Council of Elders almost suffered epileptic seizures when Hanabi revealed the thing from under layers of gift wrapping paper. Kahaku, clearly weirded out by the whole thing, looked at Kisame. I'm not missing some sort of secret ninja thing behind this, am I? No, you aren't. So this is just plain weird. Yes, it is. And I thought I had seen everything. Kahaku mumbled. Itachi stood off his seat while Toby polished his new treasure with his clothes. Let's go, Kisame. Yeah. Well then, catch you later, Kahaku-chan. The gray-haired lady smiled and nodded before turning to her assistant. Toby, stop snuggling the spoon and pick the dishes. Ah. Yes, Kahaku-san. Right away. Oi, Kisame-kun. The shark man, who was already following Itachi out of the dining room/cave, stopped to turn his head at the cook. Huh? Kahaku's smile narrowed in a mischievous grin. Forget what I said before. You know where my room is. Show up whenever you feel like it. Kisame revealed 2 sharp sets of saw-like teeth. Sure. No kissing, though. I don't want any part of my body anywhere close to those teeth of yours. Yes, ma'am. Remember that conversation we had about keeping your business your own and yours alone, Kisame? Itachi complained somewhere in the distance. This is what I meant. Kisame's grin became his equivalent of playful. Oh, come on, Itachi. Say, I'll even let you watch. You could see it as research for Tsukuyomi. Itachi cringed. He was seriously considering Tsukuyomi himself into forgetting the last 20 seconds of his life. Naruto knew it was one of those days when Saya interrupted Hinata's training to accompany him to his daily session with Hanabi. His hunch became a suspicion when, on the way to the room where Hanabi waited for him, Hayashi appeared before him, claiming he wanted to ascertain Hanabi's progress. His suspicion became a bitter feeling in his gut when Hayashi asked the nearest servant nearby, who happened to be Hyuga Atsuko, to follow them with tea and snacks for their guests. His bitter feeling in the gut became an impending feeling of inevitable doom when Atsuko claimed she would be unable to carry tea and snacks for everyone and used this as an excuse to call for the aid of the second nearest person, Hyuga Mayumi. By the time he reached the door, he was focusing everything he had into not running away like a rabbit in rabbit hunting season. His hand was shaking as it approached the sliding door and his mind tried to ready itself for whatever horrible fate awaited him in that room. When he opened the door and noticed Hanabi wasn't waiting for him in the middle of the dojo like she always did, but kneeling no more than 2 steps away from him, he knew he was in trouble. When he noticed by her shape and by the lower friction in the air currents around her that she was not wearing her standing training clothes but a kimono, he knew he was utterly screwed. He didn't know how, he didn't know why, but he was screwed. So he just waited, unmoving, for the answers to these 2 questions. Being unable to see, he couldn't notice the similar expressions of puzzlement on everyone else's faces. Hayashi, of course, hid it pretty well. Why would Hanabi wear a kimono to taijutsu training, anyway? After the initial surprise, it didn't take long for those capable of sight, that is, everyone but Naruto, to notice the other significant detail on Hanabi's appearance. Her eyes were swollen as she struggled to hold back tears. Ho ho. She swallowed. Horazen Naruto-sama. She called softly as she ceremoniously bowed before her teacher, her forehead barely touching the wooden floor. Naruto might be unable to see, but he immediately reacted to the tone. Hanabi had never used such a tone. It was just, not Hanabi. And the whole Naruto-sama thing just screamed trouble. He just hoped it wouldn't involve bodily harm or utter embarrassment. I know I am not worthy, and I know I am being rude by asking you like this, but... She looked up, a lone tear trickling down her otherwise lovely face. Would you marry me? So much for asking. Naruto's conclusion was that he was completely and utterly fucked. He'd either die of internal bleeding courtesy of Hayashi or die of embarrassment courtesy of, well, everyone else there but Hayashi. Naruto, however, being ever the optimist, did thank the gods for Anko's absence. She would have had a field day with this. However, his mother had always insisted on the importance of taking the initiative, so he acted fast. He walked forward 1 single step and stretched his right hand in the same direction. An instant later, the sliding door closed behind him, leaving Hayashi and the others outside. Thank the gods for sealless Tsubaki. At the same time he did this, his right hand extracted a paper strip. Unlike the ones Shiki always carried with him, this one was completely clean and ready to be inscribed with the mystical symbols that were the basis of Fuinjutsu. He had no time to get an ink and a brush, so he went for the next best thing. Wincing at the tinge of pain caused by his sharp canine ripping the skin of his thumb, Naruto quickly inscribed a sequence of symbols in blood, slammed the paper strip on the doorframe and made a swift sequence of hand seals. Hanabi was the only witness of the paper glowing blue for a second before sticking itself to the surface. There. Now they won't be able to open the door, unless they take it down. Security seals rule. Hanabi blinked. She was too amazed and confused to feel anything else. She had already forgotten she had been on the verge of tears just seconds before. Cool. Naruto grinned at his young apprentice. Yes, very. Now, come here. He walked across the dojo to the far wall, sitting on the floor and leaning against the vertical surface. Hanabi interpreted Naruto's patting of the floor to his right and sat by his side. The moment her buttocks touched the floor, any semblance of calmness and patience disappeared from Naruto's face. Okay, what the hell? What? Hanabi jerked away from Naruto's sudden outburst, her eyes the size of ping-pong balls. What? What the hell was that marriage thing about, all of a sudden? What sort of crazy idea have Mayumi-chan and the others convinced you to go with this time? Hanabi stiffened. No. This. Her expression shifted to a downcast look. This, which quickly changed back into a mirror of desperation. I really want to marry you, Naruto nii. She quickly corrected herself. Naruto-sama. It hurt. For some reason he could understand, for some reason he didn't want to understand, it hurt. Cut that out. Stop calling me that. It pisses me off. Her head still low, Hanabi nodded. Yes, Naruto-san. She shrieked when Naruto slammed a hand on the wall. For the first time, and unfortunately, not for the last time, she was frightened by Naruto. Naruto nii-chan. He practically growled. What? Naruto nii-chan. That's how you always call me. That's how you should call me. Not Sama or any other crap like that. Save that for when I become Hokage. No, forget that. Just never call me that again. His expression suddenly relaxed and he offered a friendly smile at his dear friend and student. I wouldn't mind, sensei, though. They stared at each other for a while. One was smiling, the other one didn't really know what to feel. She went with crying and jumping to her best friend's arms. Naruto nii-chan. Naruto didn't hesitate to return the hug, but he also knew he had to deal with the people outside. He had noticed the failed attempts at opening the door as soon as he locked it, but there had been no sounds for a while, which unsettled him greatly. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Half a dozen clones appeared, awaiting for orders. Make sure that door remains closed. They hurried to add more seals to the door and hold it with their bodies if it became necessary. After that, Naruto fully focused on the problem at hand. Hana-chan, what's wrong? The girl explained the core of the problem 2 sobs later. My private teacher, she told me everything, about the curse seal. Naruto frowned. The curse seal. Of course he already knew about it. Being so close to the Hyuga clan, well, to the female members of the Hyuga clan, mostly, he had already been instructed into the ways of the most prestigious family in Konohagakure. He didn't like it and he didn't make any sense of it, but who was he to criticize the Hyuga's wacky ancient traditions? But what could that have anything to do with Hanabi? He didn't need to ask. Hinata Oni-chan will become the next clan leader, and then father and the council will arrange my marriage, and I'll get the curse seal when I get married. If I'm getting the seal anyway, I'd rather marry Naruto nii-chan. Naruto couldn't stop himself from blushing. After all, this girl in front of him had just said she wanted to marry him, even if she was only 7 years old and didn't understand the full extent of what she was saying. Despite everything, the emotion in her words reached him, making it difficult for him to gather the appropriate words to deal with this situation. Hana-chan. Holding her from under her armpits, he lifted her and let her rest on his lap. It wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. You're an itty bit too young to be thinking about marriage. Hell, I'm too young to be thinking about marriage. But. No buts. Naruto almost chuckled at the way Hanabi stiffened after his little outburst. Hana-chan, you're awesome. You wouldn't be my best friend if you weren't. I'm your best friend? Hanabi blinked in the cute way only cute little girls can blink. Of course. You're the one I spend the most time with. And we always have a blast together, don't we? The youngest Hyuga sister grinned widely. Yup. Naruto returned the grin. That reminds me, we so have to pull a prank together. I suggest Sasuke for our victim. That would be awesome. Hanabi shrugged. She didn't really care, as long as she had fun. Since she always had fun with Naruto, she cared even less. Anyway, you are a great friend, Hana-chan. So you'll have no problem finding some guy who will really, really like you. You will also like this guy and you'll be very happy together, and stuff. Even if your father does arrange your marriage, it would probably be with a really cool guy. Hanabi pouted. Nobody's as cool as you, Naruto Nii-chan. Well duh. I'm gonna be the most badass ninja in existence, after all. Right? Yup. Hanabi nodded eagerly. So, your husband won't be nearly as cool as me, he'll be pretty cool anyway. And if he's not nice to you I'll kick his ass, so you don't have to worry about that either. Naruto gently tapped Hanabi's forehead. And you don't have to worry about the curse seal. Nobody will put that ugly thing on you. His face became dead serious. I won't let them. And Hanabi knew she had nothing to fear. But, just in case. You promise? Of course. A couple of minutes later, once Hanabi's tears had dried out and her kimono was replaced by her usual training gi, Naruto dispelled both his shadow clones and his security seals. With a smile on his face, he opened the door to find the most unusual sight. Hayashi, Hinata, Saya, Atsuko and Mayumi were calmly enjoying their tea and snacks, seated on cushions on the wooden floor in front of the dojo. So, who convinced Sayaka-chan not to take down the door? I did. Hayashi declared. Naruto raised an eyebrow. And how convinced you not to do it, Hayashi-san? That would have been me, Horazen-sama. Atsuko admitted. Great. So, you coming in or what? Naruto had turned their back to them when Hayashi spoke again. What happened just now? Naruto shrugged. I was helping Hana-chan with her warm-up exercises. Certainly, Hanabi was in the middle of the room, performing some simple stretches. Hayashi's gaze narrowed. So you didn't ask Naruto to marry you just some minutes ago, Hanabi? Hanabi stared at her father as if he had a giant bug on his face. Then, she giggled. Father, don't tell me you're already hearing things. You are not that old. Hinata gasped. Mayumi giggled. Atsuko demurely covered her mouth with her right hand. Hayashi developed a nasty twitch on his right eye. Naruto and Saya exploded in laughter. Naruto's was promptly interrupted when Hanabi hugged him tightly, looking up at his faux eyes. Father wants me to marry you, Naruto Nii-chan. I didn't SAA, that seems to be the case, Hana-chan. Probably as part of some convoluted Hyuga political machination. Hanabi blinked. Those were a lot of complicated words, Naruto Nii-chan. Learned them from Shiki-sensei. So, what do you think? Marriage, huh? Atsuko and Mayumi were shooting knowing glances at each other. Saya was almost crying in laughter, not at the young duo's antics, but at Hayashi's gradually increasing irritation. Hinata just stared. Well, I do like you a lot, Naruto Nii-chan. Hanabi stated as if it was the most obvious thing. Naruto nodded in a sagely manner. I also happen to like you a lot, Hana-chan. Maybe we should get married. What? Master and student laughed together, deciding they had gone far enough. They both knew there was a limit on how much they could strike at Hyuga Hayashi's nerves. Still clinging to Naruto's body, Hanabi turned her attention to someone else. What's wrong, Hinata-chan. Hinata blinked and stared impassively at her little sister, just like she had been doing for some time already, which caught Hanabi's attention on the first place. No. She swallowed the blood that poured out of her tongue after having bitten it, ignoring, and maybe even reveling in, its bitter taste. It's nothing. The day of graduation approaching meant that his days of having lunch with Sasuke were coming to an end. It also meant his days as Hanabi's teacher would probably end, too. Which totally sucked. Back to Sasuke, though. Everyone had already gotten used to the fact that Naruto was the only person Sasuke spoke to, unless Naruto somehow encouraged him into speaking with others. Everyone had also gotten used to the two sitting together on the exact same seats for the last 4 years, as well as to the two having lunch together. Can I have some of that? Naruto said at the same time he grabbed a shrimp from Sasuke's boxed lunch. Hey! Man, this is good! Naruto exclaimed as he enjoyed the tiny piece of seafood. What is this? My lunch. Sasuke growled. As in mine, not yours. You have your own lunch. Eat it. Ah, come on, it will be better if we share. Now, give me one of those squared thingies. No. Sasuke grabbed his lunch and moved it away from Naruto's prying chopsticks. Eat. Your own. Damn. Lunch. Come on, Sasuke. I just want to share. See, I'll give you some of mine. He grabbed a piece of his tempura and offered it to the Uchiha. Here, bastard. Open your mouth. What? I'm not gonna let yo dash. His sentence was interrupted by his unwilling consumption of tempura. It was a good thing Naruto couldn't see the deadly glare on Sasuke's face as he chewed. Good, isn't it? Now, since I'm such a great guy, I'll give you something else, and then I'll take some of your stuff. Here, have some daikon. Mouth. No dash. Sasuke managed to turn his head away from the incoming pickled vegetables, but that only meant his left cheek received them. The last scion of the Uchiha clan was conceiving multiple ways to assassinate one Hiruzen Uzumaki Naruto as he felt the piece of food rubbing his cheek annoyingly. Sasuke. Why did you do that? Now take it properly. Ow. You poked my eye. I did? Sorry, can't aim very well. Blind and all that stuff, you know, let me try again. OWWW. You did it again. You're doing it on purpose. And that thing is sour. Well, duh. It's marinated in vinegar. And you're too loud. I have sensitive hearing, it hurts me. Are you trying to make me blind like you? If you stayed still you wouldn't be in pain right now. Now let me dash, knock it off already. Oh, shut up and let me feed you, team. An uncomfortable silence filled the entire classroom. If the two's little scene hadn't caught the attention of someone in the classroom, this changed after Naruto's loud, and unusual, demand. Sasuke gritted his teeth, forcing himself to be a sea of calm in the sheer craziness of the whole situation. Too bad it didn't really work. Naruto stiffened when Sasuke slammed a hand on the desk, making the boxed lunches jump, and used the other hand to grab Naruto's chongsam and pull Naruto's face dangerously close to his. Listen to me well, Naruto. He hissed. Naruto weakly tried to push himself away. Sasuke, I get it. Bad joke. Hee. Keep your voice down, you immense dope. Yes. Quiet. Naruto clamped his mouth shut. Do you have the slightest idea of what you're doing? Sasuke continued, making sure his voice reached Naruto and Naruto only. Trying to share my lunch with you? No. Look over there. Naruto followed Sasuke's head gesture. So? You're fangirls. Yes. My, fangirls. Sasuke muttered bitterly. Did you already forget the horror that fangirls are? Hell no. Naruto admitted. But I don't see what that has to do with Dobe. Sasuke's eyes were bloodshot at this point. You're making them evolve. Naruto blinked. What was Sasuke up to? Evolve? Yes. Into yaoi fangirls. Sasuke stayed still for a few seconds, as if waiting for the weight of his words to hit Naruto. Seeing no such reaction, he just let go of the blonde. So just shut up and eat your damn lunch. Ignoring Naruto's blank look, Sasuke returned to his own meal, eating it calmly and, most importantly, quietly. Naruto, however, didn't do the same. However, he actually pondered the intelligence of opening his mouth again before he actually did it. Sasuke. Naruto spoke. While his voice wasn't particularly loud, it was easy for everyone in the classroom to hear him. Sasuke gritted his teeth again and took a deep breath. What? What's yaoi? An even more uncomfortable silence invaded the classroom like a chilling fog that swallowed everything. Once again, Naruto's blindness prevented him from witnessing an incredible sight, namely the spectrum of faces Sasuke made in the span of a few seconds. He did notice some whispering and pointing from the fangirl corner, but that didn't interest him. His expanded Senrigan also showed him that. For some reason, Hinata had slammed her forehead on her desk. Noticing the shaking of Sasuke's hands, Naruto turned his attention back to his friend. So? Sasuke? Dobe. No amount of reflexes helped Naruto against Sasuke's sudden onslaught. A second later, the two were rolling and scuffling on the floor, until they reached a standstill with Naruto's hands pushing Sasuke's arms and Sasuke's hands closed around Naruto's neck. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you, and then I'm going to kill myself. Screw Itachi, screw mother, screw everything. Sasu, can't, ugh. Sasuke-kun. A high-pitched scream seized the classroom's attention. Sasuke noticed the circle of children who had been watching the display with rapt attention. He focused on the source of the voice, a shaking, blushing Yamanaka Ino, who promptly flinched at the feral glare she got from her crush. However, she gathered her courage and spoke in behalf of her entire group of friends. Sasuke-kun, please don't. She fidgeted with her fingers in the same way everyone had seen Hinata do hundreds of times. Please don't be so rough with Naruto-kun. He's not enjoying it. While Naruto's mind tried to figure out how anyone could enjoy being strangled, Sasuke digested what Ino had said, taking him half a second to realize what she really had said. That sent him over the edge. The entirety of Konoha heard the scream of sheer pain and frustration of one Uchiha Sasuke. It was soon followed by the noises of every animal in a 2-mile radius. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. Guys, make sure to help the author by visiting the link in the description. This is Fox Sage, and I'm signing off.